Welcome to Home's Room. Just like Homeroom, we start off our day getting together with our homies, swapping stories, even a little kiss and tell action. This podcast contains language not suitable for younger listeners, topics about sex and mental health. Discretion is advised. Our views are our own. Let class begin.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, this is one of those fun ones where we're going to see what happens. We got internet delay issues.
We're back. We're here.
I don't know what's going on. It's fun. Hopefully it starts to trend in the right direction. And I don't know if it's you. I don't know if it's me. But what's up, Kaitlin?
Hey, homie. How goes it?
Good, as long now it's starting to say like 94-95% uploading, which is good. As I say that, it dropped back down to like 62. So internet issues, possibly audio issues on one end, internet issues on the other end. That's the fun part about recording this stuff from states away, if not really like the neighboring state, I guess is what we do. But I'm kind of excited for this topic, and it was really funny because like right before you jumped on, you were like, so what was that hard limit thing we were going to do? Like how many? And we both kind of looked at each other with that, like, I couldn't really think of, but so we're talking about smut books and and that
smut
that kind of I don't want to call it a culture, but like that I guess trend currently. There's that. So you were also going to teach me what BookTok was, and not saying talk like TikTok, but BookTok. And all I know about it is that it's a place for people to recommend books. And the only two that I've seen were super chaotic, and I had no idea why I was supposed to read that book in the end, because I saw two of them.
Can you please quantify chaotic for me, please?
It was just a lot of jump cuts from like the person talking, like the actual person who recorded said video, and then parts of the book, and then images of like, I don't know. I don't want to say like a when I don't think people really do it anymore, where it's like screen and screen. And like they would like point up at the screen above them, and that was actually like the book and like the things, and then it was like it was chaotic. There was a lot going on. I just remember it was a yellow background and a super exuberant lady, and I was so over it. I still read the book.
Okay.
But...
It is, listen, homies, my friendship with Matt perfectly encapsulates in the modern age how two friends who are so closely aligned in so many things can have such different experiences online, right? 99.99% of the content that I consume is from the TikTok. Okay.
99.9% of the content that I consume is on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. And you are a brave soldier that is battling
98.9, and then 1% is on Pinterest. So there you go.
King, I bet you have so many Pinterest boards that I would love to see.
I'll send them to you after this.
Please do. I need to revisit Pinterest, but also with an ad blocker installed because it's so insufferable with the amount of ads. Anyways,
yeah, we digress.
We digress. Matt, my homie, is a brave soldier braving the world of Instagram, which for me has lost its fun. Okay. It is the platform that I had most people that I know IRL in it. And I have way more fun on the TikTok, which is a world of goofs, gaffs, laughs. And for my personal algorithm, because my Chinese spy is a girl's girl, all right, 9 times out of 10, it is BookTok, and it is Smut, okay? Again, Matt and I have different experiences online. He just said, oh, this is my limited experience with BookTok, and I'm engrossed in it so much every day.
So what is BookTok? Please tell me.
So BookTok is a space online that is predominantly female dominated. Okay.
I like it already.
BookTok is a space online. There are creators that have huge followings online on the TikTok that are coming from the content pillars of reading and rating different types of books. Okay. Over the course of the last year and a half, my personal experience with the algorithm, or the algo, if you're chronically online like myself, has been BookTok is synonymous with smut books. Okay. That might not be everybody's experience, but specifically, BookTok is a place where women can unite, but where women can have open conversation about smut books and the types of tropes that we enjoy. Now, tropes, if you will, is within the smut category. A trope is like a genre of smut. And smut, if I'm sitting here trying to draw an overarching definition of smut, is books you would not want to read with your grandmother. Okay. I don't know how else to gracefully put that. Do you have a different definition of the word smut,
I'm looking it
homie?
up right now for you.
Oh, perfect, King. I love it.
In the context of books, smut refers to literature that contains explicit sexual content. Its characterization and characterized by depicting detailed sexual acts. As the gist of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Also called spicy or steamy.
Spicy or steamy. I like spicy. So to get around all of the filters and like the, be super friendly with social media platforms, a lot of these BookTok creators have a spiciness level where they rate the books that they follow or that they read with a level of spicy. And it's like 0 out of 1 red peppers or whatever. But I specifically wanted to explain this to Matt because there's 2 sides of BookTok that I feel like are relevant to having a conversation about in the context of this podcast. The first is the level of empowerment. Okay. There are so many women under these BookTok comment sections or these, content creators in BookTok that are owning their sexuality, that are being super public and loud about what they like, what they don't like. But I've also seen that this BookTok hashtag has kind of extended to other areas of content creation on the TikTok. So if you will, follow me. I wish I would have made a link chart for this one. Oh my gosh. If you will, BookTok kind of is synonymous at this point with BikeTok, which is this genre of content creation that are from men, typically from what I've seen in their early to mid 20s, that are out riding motorcycles or riding street bikes that never show their face. They only have a helmet on, but they're ripped as shit and they make thirst trap type of content. Wow. Okay. So within BookTok, you have BikeTok, and then I've also fallen down the rabbit hole. I don't know if I'm outing myself so hard here. Please, homies, let me know if this is your experience. There's BikeTok and there's MaskTok.
MaskTok. Okay.
Okay. So there are so many content creators that are a part of MaskTok, meaning they create thirst trap content while wearing a mask. Typically, 9 times out of 10, the mask has something to do with Call of Duty. Okay. The first time around with the ban that we were all panicking, now that can gets kicked down the road every 90 days. Literally, it was like last Thursday that everybody was like, oh, I guess maybe TikTok will be banned here in the next day or 2. Whatever. The first time around that everybody was panicking about TikTok going away, these MaskTok creators started to do face reveals when they have huge followings and do thirst trap content creation behind these masks. And homie, I want to specifically bring this to your attention. There are MaskTok content creators on the TikTok. Take a shot every time I say talk right now. Oh my God. Who outed themselves as surprise. They were women the whole time. So they do voiceovers, or they do like acting along the audios that are predominantly Call of Duty related. They do really significant like makeup that makes them look super masculine. I will send you the one. I legitimately will send you, because I have it saved. The one that made me question my fucking sexuality. I swear to God, Matt. I was like, oh my God, she's a girl. Am I bisexual? This is bi panic, I think. Oh my God. Oh my God. So anyways, BookTok. It's a space where
hold on, pause.
Women are owning their sex.
You do this thing where you like dump a bunch of information and don't let me jump in and say anything back.
No, go ahead. Do you have a response,
I have a response
Matt?
to a lot of what you just said.
I'm sorry.
So number one, that actually makes so much sense to something that I've seen as a person who is into like 2A stuff and like tactical gear.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that with zero clue its context was always like, the fuck, like, okay, whatever, fine, Call of Duty, like, I guess fetishizing whatever, and like there's a butt for every seat kind of situation, so it's like whatever. So that makes so much more sense now that like it's just a trend on TikTok, so I'm seeing it because it's a trend somewhere else. But also it just made me think, you know what I should do, because I haven't figured out what I want to use our TikTok for. Like, I've been posting like what we do and like the same stuff I post to our Instagram on our TikTok. It's like, maybe I should just like spoof those videos and just make like stupid versions of them and not and like make fun of that as a thing, because like it would just be so fucking funny to do the Homes Room TikTok that is like functioning like just a ridiculous like satire thing of what it, because I don't like TikTok. I've tried. I get so like, I'm on here because we need advertising. I'm on here because we need advertising. That's about it. So yeah, it'd be funny.
Which is fair and safe. 10 out of 10 would love to watch you produce any type of content, but also specifically, I want to see your comedic take on that, because that is such a cornerstone of the content that I create, is comedy and also just reading to filth nameless and faceless men on the internet that dare come into my comment section and commit misogyny. Yeah. So is what it is.
I just think it'd be funny. I've thought about doing like the, you know, I guess like clip together ones where it's like a girl saying whatever about like, oh, he's got to be, you know, big and, you know, this, that, and the other thing, and like, and like bearded and all this, and like each time that like she says a thing, I just come back with like stuff shoved in my shirt to be like a little bit bigger, and she's like bearded, and then come back with a really terrible fake beard, just because it's like I get like everybody can like what they like, but like at some point in time you gotta realize that you sound kind of silly. So like let's move on.
I see the vision. Yeah. Genuinely, I see the vision. So first and foremost with BookTok, I see a ton of controversy. As more time goes by, there are more BookTok content creators. There are more women that are openly owning their sexuality. Flex it, let's get.
Just messing with you.
Oh, look at my biceps.
There you go. Right, there you go.
Okay. But if Homes Room podcast episodes had a bingo card for every single episode, one of the squares would be Kaitlin talks about Sleep Token. Yeah. Okay. Here I go. This is this episode's chunk about Sleep Token. And one of the parts about BookTok that I wanted to highlight, because it's one of the things that I kind of noticed recently with their new album coming out. So as the album released, there are 2 songs on that album that are very much BookTok centered, meaning they are hot fucking songs. Mm-hmm. Okay. And historically, on every album that Sleep Token releases, there's 1 or 2 that are like, that's fucking hot. Okay. I don't care who you are. That's sexy. Okay. The first one on this new album, Even in Arcadia, yes, I have listened to it every single day since it has come out. Like Sleep Token will be my top listened to artist on my Spotify Wrapped. It is what it is. There's 2 songs. One is Provider, very hot. The other one is Dangerous. Okay. Specifically in Dangerous, there's a lyric that says, do I want to go there? Yes, I do. I want to do more than just break the rules. Only good girl this side of the moon. Like, okay, Vessel, I see you, lead composer and lyricist. Let's go. But when those clips, like little snippets of those songs first started coming out on the platform when the album released, I saw comments that were like, wait until BookTok gets a hold of this. Wait until BookTok gets a hold of this because they're going to overtly sexualize this song. I'm like, historically, Sleep Token has set the precedent that they have songs that they want to be sexualized to. In fact, there have been several concerts where bandmates have openly made out with each other on stage. Okay, it's an all-men band. I have never tried to delve down the Google rabbit hole of who are actually the members of Sleep Token, because they have openly stated, we're trying to hide behind these masks. We don't want to be this persona for our entire lives. And then the song Caramel came out. Listen, here I am. I'm stepping on my soapbox for fucking Sleep Token. Oh my God. Anyways, okay. But it was like derogatory, these comments of wait until BookTok gets a hold of this song. Wait until BookTok does this. Kind of shaming the larger movement of BookTok, saying that we like, and I say we because yes, I'm very much a part of BookTok, okay, as a consumer, not necessarily as a content creator, but 100% as a consumer. Yet. Okay,
here you go. We got it going right now.
Oh my God. But there's a little bit of controversy around BookTok because inherently, of course, when women do anything, especially when it's in the area of owning our sexuality, responding and being very open to thirst trap type of content, or openly saying these are the types of tropes that we enjoy, what do we get to do? We get fucking shamed. If gender roles were reversed, would that happen? Absolutely the fuck not. Yeah. And I stand on that statement with all 10 toes and both booty cheeks and my full chest. Okay. I just think it's very interesting how a predominantly female guided content pillar that is so dominant on TikTok. There's a ton of ad revenue. There's a ton of views. There's a ton of TikTok app payouts in the creator fund that have gone towards these content creators that are both MaskTok, BikeTok, but also BookTok. But it's also a space where women, like, immediately, BookTok creator comes across my For You page. Here's the 10 spiciest books I've ever met. Grab me. You could have just grabbed me by the neck and made me look like this at my phone. I'm hooked. But yeah, any response, Matt? Here I am being a good co-host.
I mean, no, like as a concept, it makes sense. And like I said, I think that it's stupid that anybody like when people are like arguing about like what is acceptable or not acceptable on like an internet platform like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, whatever it is, like it doesn't matter. There's like if you don't like it, fucking keep scrolling. Like, and as far as like using a song, the right content creator can make anything into anything. That's the point. And now it's like, oh shit, I never looked at it that way. Now I got a thing that I'm looking at that way, because that's just what it is. Like, I know, like for me, when I can't think of when I need a song for something that I can't think of what to put, like, man, it needs music, but I don't know what to do. There's a theme from House of the Dragon that I use all the time because it's just so like ambiguous. You can, like it just works, right? So I use that one all the time because I can. And as a content creator, it's like, I know, oh, this lyrically fits with what I'm doing. So if people are listening to somebody's music and they're like, oh, lyrically, this makes sense with what we're going to be doing, don't be mad that they listen to the actual lyrics of the song and didn't just get like swept away in the, like, you know, whatever. Like, I I had it and then I lost it. There's a song that people sing all the time and then they don't know what it means. Like I remember like when Lil Jon was saying fucking skeet skeet goddamn, and people were saying it, and it's like, do you know what that means? Because like you're using it and it's not how that's not what he's saying or talking about. And this is just another example of like, just because you want it to be a thing doesn't actually make it this thing. So shut up. But yeah, as far as, you know, BookTok goes, it seems like a very fun place to spend your time, and it's better than, you know, getting swept up in, you know, conspiracy theories about, you know, the fucking potatoes are going to siphon the blood from your knuckles and you're going to end up with...
They're turning the frogs, yay!
Yeah, like stuff like that, you know.
That's my best Alex Jones impression. So, you can snip that for our next Instagram.
Nah, I don't
clip.
give people light like that. Sorry, it don't happen.
So there's a level of comedy with BookTok, MaskTok, BikeTok. You know, this level of there is a content creator, Andrew. It's Andrew, but with the E is a 3. He is fine. Okay, listen. Oh. Hey, Caps.
No, I mean, you just said MaskTok. So
what's
like,
up, OV?
No, it's MaskTok. So we're just gonna do MaskTok, right? That's what we're doing.
My God.
Mask.
So I admire the creativity, but also the level of comedy behind other women in this sphere of content, because these men will openly post content where they know that they are introducing these types of comments, and the creativity and originality. Like, listen, there are women that are openly posting with thousands of likes on this comment, like, I'm not Cinderella, but I know it fits. or until my throat memorizes every vein. Or until my 23andMe test results are altered. Okay, listen, there's such a openness about women owning their sexuality and like responding positively to other men owning their sexuality and putting out this type of content that it's like, hello, like, it's just, I find it very fun. It's very comedic. And as yet again, another bingo square on an episode of Homes Room, a girl that was born and raised in the Bible Belt that had to deconstruct from a lot of modestest, hottest ideals, I find it very, very empowering. So, all said and done, that's kind of my summary for BookTok. If I missed anything, please sound off and let us know. But it's so fun over there. If this is a type of content that you're not seeing on your algorithms, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, or wherever you consume your content, tap in, homies, because 10 out of 10.
I like the way that you like that. It's such an interesting thing, right? So I run different social medias. So I have my hobby page, and my hobby page, like my Explorer For You page, whatever you want to call it, looks like one thing. I have the Homes Room like account, and that one looks more like BookTok, and that is kind of what it is. And in essence, there's a lot of cosplay, a lot of books and things like that. It's creative outlets that way, because that's kind of where it started, and it was my writer page before it was like specifically the podcast page. So it is still keyed to those things, but my personal one is, it's always so interesting because I can make I can like two things and it'll change in an instant, and then I'll start seeing a million of those things, where either of those other ones, it doesn't matter what I do, they're like kind of locked into that. And I think it's so interesting when it comes to, like, if you want to, you know, dive down this hole of, you know, BookTok or whatever and see what's out there, don't be afraid of what pops up on your For You page, and just like embrace it. And, you know, like see, it's like, oh, I like that post, and feel free to like that post. Don't feel like ashamed to like it. But yeah, so, you know, the overall like BookTok conversation keys into our even greater topic of this episode, which is smut books in general. So when I think about smut books, I honestly like remember being a kid and seeing the like Fabio covers in the grocery store when I was like going to look for car magazines, and being like, Mom, what's that? And Mom being like, nothing, shut up. So, like, knowing that those books are obviously something, but I wasn't like, I don't know. Did you have that same experience?
I think 100%. And I think that this is something that women have always been doing. They've just been very quiet about it. Like, I remember growing up in the basement of the house that I grew up in, my dad made this giant ass bookshelf that just covered like an entire 12-foot wall, floor to ceiling, wall to wall in our basement. And like my dad's side of the bookshelf had like, John Grisham, biographies of military veterans and like his old college textbooks and shit like that. But like 99% of that bookshelf was filled with my mom's books. And my mom's books were Nora Roberts and Danielle Steele. Okay. There was some smut in those. Yeah. Okay. The only difference is my mom didn't have a place online digitally where she could share in that experience with other women. I think like romance books have always been a huge genre for book sales in general across the world globally. So like, I don't know. I think it's just a translation of the younger that women get, the more that we share our lived experience online digitally. And the more like sense of community, I think, comes behind that. So yes, I absolutely, in fact, yes, I understand the Fabio bookshelf or book covers that you are talking about. I grew up with a huge percentage of them on a bookshelf in my basement, I think.
Always just make me laugh. And it's like, it just kind of is. So, when it comes to like smut books, right? I, as a writer of fiction, I've, like tiptoed around it because like to me, depending on the kind of book, it's got to have a place and whatnot. But when it comes to smut books, it's like, that's the point. So even if it doesn't make sense, that's the point. So, I think one of the things that I don't want to say like revolutionizes like smut books in general, but like keeps it new and fresh each time is that the trends are different. So like back then we just talked about the Fabio books and, like that was the thing that, flowy white shirt, unbuttoned looking like a pirate, but your hair is like really long and, like standing there on top of a rock while the fucking ocean crashes against it. Like it was like super
everything that your suburban husband, middle class husband does not look like.
He's got hair, he's in shape, and he apparently lives by the ocean. I don't know. So like legit, it's and dresses like a pirate. So one of the things that like always gets me is now it's like the trend for a little bit was like hockey. And I thought that was crazy when like hockey smut books became like super popular. And now I'm told there's like cowboy or like whatever is like the newer one. There was a little bit of time where it was like where it was like lumberjacks and lumberjills. And then before that it was like, no, I don't say like the race car world, but like fast and dangerous, like speed related things, whether it was like motorcycles or whatever. And then during the height of like Sons of Anarchy, it was like bad boys and, gangs and things like that. And I think it's so interesting because they're able to tap into those things and stay fresh and stay marketable. But also, like, those stories are probably not going to age terribly because they were on trend for a time. So they're going to fit just well enough into culture no matter when you pick it up. And I think that's super smart. As a creator, that is super smart.
100%. Absolutely agree.
I think it's one of those, you gotta know what you're looking for. And, when I got thrown my first like hockey romance smut kind of book, I was like, we'll see. And it's one of my favorites now, even though it's got like some technical errors as far as like hockey goes, but that's not the point. You know what I mean? So like there's things that I can get past and there's things that's just like, okay, do a little bit of research, but that happens in like any book. So I can forgive it, but it's one of my favorite stories because the story wasn't that bad and like the smut fit in to the story, not the other way around. And then, when I'm curious about talking to you about this, would you rather your story fit into your smut or your smut to fit into your story?
Shit. I would say the latter. My smut fit into my story.
Okay.
And listen, as part of this episode, we came up with a list of a few things about smut books that we do and don't like, but my choices will back that up. I also own, it's at this point in the episode, I must give a shout out to my book club. I'm a part of a book club that I have dubbed us the Ladies of Government Book Club. Okay. It's myself, federal agents, U.S. attorneys, federal probation agents, other local law enforcement partners. It's all women. Listen, we all get around a table once a month, predominantly to tell our partners and husbands that we have a hobby outside of work. Yes, it's a lot of us talking shop, but 9 times out of 10, like most of the conversation is a little bit kind of about reading and about books. Okay. Every month we have a non-smut book and a smut book option. Guess which one I'm reading.
You said it like 37 times. I don't remember what episode that was the last time you said it, but you're like, smut book, smut book. And I thought it was like, yep, that's my friend. Love that girl.
So there are several personalities inside our book club that I'm going to put you akin with. One of them is my friend Alex. And you guys have the type of brain where you read a book and you kind of analyze the storyline in a way of like, I'm looking for plot holes, or I saw this plot hole. I'm reading the book and I'm just strapped into the roller coaster enjoying the ride. But when I hear you or I hear like Alex talk about, oh, this was a major plot hole, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's true. That's very valid. Okay. And, I think we're all using reading at this point to like kind of use it as like maybe a form of escapism, or it's just like a recreational hobby activity that we just like to do in our off time. But I'm just kind of doing it as like enjoyment for like face value of what it is, and not trying to like look at it at any type of deeper
what's
level.
wild is you do that. I'm the same way about movies. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't search for plot holes in movies. When I find them, it's like, well, that sucks. But like, I'm not like actively looking for them. So it takes a lot for me to see them. I'm just there to enjoy this film that's in front of me. With books, it's like, I just get pulled out of the story because my brain goes, that don't make sense. So now, like, since you say it that way, I have to tell you what the plot hole is, or the thing that they got wrong in that hockey book. And it was that the game in the NHL ended in a tie. And I was like, that's not a thing.
That doesn't happen.
And so like it happened like twice, I think, in that book, where like their record was, and they were like, the team was getting turned around because the female lead was like boinking their goaltender, and he was like finding his game again, and like his rage was being, tamed enough. And it becomes like, okay, but also I can't get over the fact that you just said they tied. Because like I would be mad too if they tied, because that hasn't happened in like I don't know how long. But it's like,
yeah, it takes you out of the experience. It like removes you from like the fun of the book if there's like a clear technical error like that. Like I can see that.
Yeah.
That is one that's so egregious I probably would have picked it up.
Yeah.
But I also come from a family of hockey players, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that one just got me. I probably didn't notice any other ones, but that one, like I said, it's still one of my favorites, even with that though, because I think I have it. I think I've probably like gone through it at least 3 times. I think when I can't find anything else, I'm just like, well, I'll pick that one up again, because I enjoy the story. The lead is like my kind of lead, and the like smut is like my kind of smut, so it works out. But do you have a go-to or like a favorite like style of smut, I guess? Like we talked about the hockey and the Cowboys and all that, or do you just ride the wave with the trend?
So here's where we're like transitioning into talking about like our favorite kind of books, our favorite kind of tropes. So do you want to talk about tropes, or do you want to give like some book recommendations, or where do you want to go
end with
this?
Book recommendations, because I think that makes more sense for the end of an episode. So we can talk about tropes, I guess. I mean, like, so that's kind of the one that like I want to hear yours so I can figure out whether mine actually fit in, because I don't know whether mine fit or don't fit. So
okay. So listen here, as a well-versed trope, I'm very fluent in smut tropes. At this point, I can confidently say, okay, my favorite tropes, as you will, are mafia romance. Okay, listen, I'm a fucking hero. Like I'm a slut for a morally gray or morally black male main character that is like, oh, I'm straight up a criminal overlord. Okay. And maybe there's a little bit of something of like, this is Caitlin's job and this is like how she was raised and like whatever. I don't know. There's maybe something there. That's not for me to figure out here in Holmes' room. Okay. That's for me to pay top dollar to figure that out with my therapist. Okay. So we're not going to do that here. Okay. We're not going to do that here right now, homies. Mafia romance. Love it. A like Irish mafia kingpin, Bratva Russian leader, or a like Italian mobster. You know, oh my god.
So that's your top one. That's what you're saying?
That's one of my top
All right.
ones. Yes.
So
I have several top ones though.
My top one, and like this is why it's like I don't know if it fits as a trope or not, is reverse harems. I enjoy a reverse harem because at the end of the day, hearing what goes on in like that main character's head and knowing what it's like from the other side is like kind of the most fun part. That's the part I don't know. I don't have the insight to. So like reverse
there's
harem
a level
like,
of irony.
Yep, I love those.
Homie, there's a level of irony about you talking about reverse harems and not knowing if it fits. All right, let me tell you. Can you please explain to our homies that aren't in the know about what a reverse harem is?
So like a traditional harem is like a guy who has like a bunch of women fawning after him, and like that's like the standard thing, which is like, you know, whatever. But a reverse harem is a woman who has a bunch of guys fawning after her and kind of gets to choose what she wants to do and is in control of the situation. And that doesn't necessarily mean that like she's like taking charge in all the situations, but it just means that like it's her kind of decision, I guess. So like, you know, it's like it's
her decision, but every man because let me just tell you right now, Matt, don't even fucking question for a moment if this doesn't fit, because guess what was right up next in my fucking trope list?
What's next in your trope list?
Reverse harems. One of my favorites. Because what is my favorite about this specific trope is usually it's a damaged woman in one way, shape, or form. But every man who is present in this reverse harem, whether it's 3 men to 1 woman or more.
Yeah.
Okay. Each different partner to that female main character in the harem serves a different kind of role.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes, listen, homies, sometimes some of the men in the reverse harem are boyfriends with each other. Okay.
So
I didn't know this episode was honestly going to get this spicy, but here we are.
So it's really funny because like what you said, you know, like about the mafia, like thing, like that's a thing it tracks. It makes sense. And I think it's really funny that like that reverse harem was next on your list. And you also said, you know, a lot of times like each character in that harem, like, is like there to serve a purpose in that character's life, or like a soft side, a harsh side, you know, whatever side. My next trope that I like, it doesn't matter what it is, and this is why like that book I referenced before is like my favorite. The fucking tough girl who doesn't need a guy to solve her shit and can hang with the dudes just as well, if not give it back just as much. And like, I mean, sarcastic jabs and like witty, because like ultimately like that's like the biggest turn on for me. It's like, you know, like, yeah, that shit is like, yep, you know what? I can look at you and see that you are with it, and I don't got to worry about you in this situation because like you don't need saving. And the fact that you don't need saving makes me want to be saved. Thank you very much. So that would be my next one. The tough chick that can that takes no shit, and the ghost that is attacking you. So what's your next one?
A whole chunk of mirrors just fell off my microphone. Sorry, homies. The next one is any type of smut book that kind of explores the relationship between a dominant man and a submissive woman. And I choose that as one of my favorite tropes because it has taught me a lot about myself, like what I like, what I don't like, things that I need, things that I don't need, but things that I like being told, whatever, as a fiercely independent, traumatized, emotionally unavailable woman, I know after kind of exploring that trope of smut books, but also exploring that category of audios on Quinn, and having some more like open, educated conversations with my husband after consuming that type of content or reading those types of books has done a lot for me. As a fiercely independent woman, it's kind of helped me understand that submission is not inherently the connotation of the word. It's more of a huge level of trust, faith, and respect that you have in a partner.
I, as your friend,
which
am super proud of you saying that because I've heard you say the exact opposite about yourself for so long. This makes me happy.
Listen.
Good job, Kaitlin.
Makes my husband happy too. Shout out. Yes, it's very it's kind of helped me understand and like shift the connotation because growing up in the Bible Belt, modest is hottest, all this other shit that we've talked about on previous episodes, this concept of modesty and submission and being a weak woman had a certain connotation for me that I had to deconstruct and re-educate myself about. So now I'm in the iteration of myself that knows and understands that having a teammate and a partner, but also having a partner that I can submit to and trust, not only in that area of my life, but in others, is really empowering and takes a lot of strength. Yeah. Like I always had this connotation that, submissive women were weak, submissive women were dumb. But with kind of this restructure or like this re-education, if you will, about myself and my preferences, it's helped me understand that as a fiercely independent woman that don't need no man, period, the man that I choose to allow into my life to have an equal partnership with, to be able to submit and just accept whatever decisions that he makes in multiple areas of our lives, not just in the bedroom. It takes a lot of strength and takes a lot of like courage to do that. So it's kind of like antithetical to what I believed and what I was socialized into growing up. But yeah. That's one of my next favorite tropes.
I like it. All right, so we're gonna go from favorite to like our hard nose because we didn't have that many, and so like I'm gonna just throw my first like hard no, and it's anything that has to do with the word that rhymes with grape. Like I can't do it. Like that is an instant. Nope, I'm done with this one. Even if it's like flirting with that line, kind of like consensual non-consent. Like nope, not a thing.
Yes,
can't do it. That's a hard note.
So. There's one of my favorite things about BookTok is we kind of explore these areas of like books that like other women or other consumers of BookTok content like were obsessed over and everybody was talking about that I didn't like. There are very few books that I DNF, do not finish. One of them in recent memorable history was Hunting Adeline, which is the second book that comes after Haunting Adeline, because it goes into content and topics that are very graphic and very detailed related to that. Talking about human trafficking, talking about rhymes with grape, very detailed scenes of grape. And I'm just like, why is everybody obsessed with this book right now? Like, I can't even stomach finishing this. Very valid. Very valid. Absolutely match your energy on that.
What's your?
But I also have some more.
So we're running out of time. So we got to get through the other lists. So if we can get through these lists, then we can circle back around. Because I had at least
Okay,
one
then
more.
let me do my my most insane hard limit. We'll go to yours, and then let's go to some Rex.
Okay.
How's that?
That's fine.
Okay, so my hard limit is as insane as it sounds. Anything to do with fucking animals.
That is my last one of my 3. So we check that one off for both of us.
Jinx.
Yeah.
Owe me a Coke. There was this specific book going around BookTok that, like, I shit you not, was about a woman that, or I don't know. Hold on. Maybe I didn't even read the book because I can't even stomach picking it up. Okay. It was about a female main character who falls in love with an octopus in an aquarium.
Yeah.
Okay. Or octopus falls in love with female character. I don't know. But it is essentially a whole book about them exploring a romantic connection. And I am just like, anything to do with animals, hard out. It was like one of those moments of like, am I being gaslit by BookTok right now?
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about this. It was literally about a woman that was in love with an octopus that was captured inside of an aquarium. I don't know. There's maybe more to the storyline that I'm missing because I didn't, in fact, read the book.
I'm not
yucking
anybody's yum, but like, nah, I can't do it. Unfortunately, that is not a thing. My last one,
hard limit.
That one was on your list and my list. My last one is anything with like an extra age gap, where it's like 18 and he's like 72 or something stupid, outrageous. Like, I have a thing where it's like plus or minus 10 years, and I'll give you a little bit more on the plus side. So like if you're 30 and they're like maybe pushing like 40, like upper 40s, there's like, it seems like a big gap, but it really in the general sense isn't a big gap. But it's a whole different thing if they're in their like early 20s, late teens, and you're like 40s, 50s and above. Like, that's nope, can't do extreme age gaps.
Listen, again, another book in recent memory that I DNF'd. It was kind of exploring this like daddy trope, and it was from the perspective of the female main character. She only talked about this billionaire rich guy that like let her live in his house as daddy. She only ever referred to him as daddy. He let her live in his dead daughter's room that was all ballerinaed out. He picked her up from her college campus. She was like freshly 18. She only ever referred to as daddy. And the male main character perspective only ever talked about how she reminds me of my deceased daughter.
Yeah, that's weird.
Ick.
Yeah, that's weird.
Ick. Not about it. So 100% matching that energy. That being said, I do have a recommendation for the best smut book I have ever read in my entire fucking life. Okay? If I may. Yeah. All right. So I've talked about it in previous episodes. I am a huge consumer. My favorite genre of books in general are thrillers.
Yeah.
Okay. I want a book that has a plot twist coming that makes me want to close the book and chuck it across the room. I literally want my jaw to drop on the floor and be like, what the fuck? So if you have any thriller recs that match that energy, please let me know. Send them my way. But there is a perfect hybrid of thriller plot twist that I didn't fucking see coming with smut. Okay? And it is the book Pen Pal by J.T. Geisinger. Apologies if I'm butchering the pronunciation of her last name. Hot ass man on the cover, obvi. But it is one of those books that I wish I could delete out of my brain so that I could read it again for the first time and experience the plot twist again. But also smut books, very spicy. Like the smut scenes, very spicy. Love it. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So like we talked about, the things that we enjoy and this, that, and the other thing. So I'm glad that you have like, not only put out like hey, if you know anything like this, but also put out a like if you like anything like this. So like for me, one of the ones I just finished in its series, it's the Black Rose series by Eva Ashwood, and I thought it was going to be like kind of terrible, and in the first book it was like, I mean, I get why this is like a book, but like, I don't know, I'm not necessarily into it. And then I read the second one, and then I was like, okay, I'm kind of hooked on this. I want to know where this story goes. But it's a reverse harem, and you know, the main character gets mixed up with some criminals that her dad has gotten in unfortunate with, and she's forced to live in their house as they do their normal like gang operations. And you know, because it's a reverse harem, they all are like, yeah, okay, but also she can handle her own. She's not just like a damsel in distress, or like, you know, the Rapunzel trapped in the tower by the three dragons. Like she's active in her own story, and I was like, I enjoy this. And then the scenes are, yeah, they're pretty fun.
So we have an element of dark mafia romance. We have an element of reverse harem, but we also have an element of forced proximity.
Yeah.
Spicy. Yeah. Okay. I legitimately just wrote that one down. Okay. Okay. So the next recommendation that I have is a series. I love a series of like smut books that kind of engross you in this like universe, or do a really great job world building, and then kind of explore relationships between different characters throughout the series. Okay. The first series that I read that was like this, that kind of introduced me to a bunch of new tropes that I have never read before, never really considered, didn't really know that they were a thing. So it taught me a lot about my own preferences. It taught me a lot about the different tropes that exist, but it also was just like really good storyline in general, was The Salacious Players Club by Sarah Kate. Sarah with no H, Kate, C-A-T-E. Sorry. There are several characters that are that come together and create essentially like a sex club.
Yeah.
But they also have business relationships, personal relationships, and there's an exploration of all kinds of different tropes that kind of encompass that. I think that Sarah Kate did a really good job building a world that's like super easy to get engrossed into. So just like as a creative and as a content consumer, as a book reader in general, it was like super easy to love the universe that she was starting to build. So far, I think there's at least 4 or 5 books in that series. Another one that I wish I could delete out of my brain and consume again.
I like that. So I talked about the hockey books. I'm a hockey person, so like those are good. If you are uncomfortable with like bi situations or gay situations, you can fast forward now. If you want to know what I'm talking about, keep listening. So it is a guy like rivalry to lovers, and they it's called Iced Out. They were rivals all through junior hockey, and then they end up on the same team, and now they're forced to kind of like figure it out and work it out. And a moment of passion turns into like oh shit, we won that game. So now, if you know anything about hockey players are super, super, super fucking superstitious. Like, I mean, like,
hey,
you spray your water bottle the same fucking way when you get off the ice, kind of superstitious, just because you take the same laps, you stretch the exact same pattern. Like it is ridiculous. So now, of course, they won that game after not being able to win. And they're like, shit, well, now we got to do it again. Right. And it just becomes a more than that situation. And it was, the scenes were pretty good, and the story wasn't bad, and it had hockey in it. So it was fun for me. I enjoyed that one, but also like I didn't have a ton of moments that like took me out of the story, which is probably the thing that made me like it the most. So I'm gonna give you one more, and then if you want to do like your most favorite, if you haven't already, I'm gonna do my most favorite and the one that I've been referring to pretty much this entire time.
So I recently have fallen into a rabbit hole of like romantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fantasy, romantic. All right. Like think ACOTAR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which, granted, there are some spicy scenes in ACOTAR. ACOTAR gets a lot of hate. All right. I don't want to hear that shit right now though. So there are a few books in that kind of like vein or genre that are also dark academia. Oh, listen, girl, I love some dark academia. Okay. But in kind of the same vein of dark academia, dystopian, romantic fantasy, we're talking about dystopian specifically. Alexis Patton is the author. I need Alexis Patton to put the damn phone down, stop making TikToks, and work on book 3. Okay? Because the first book I randomly stumbled upon on TikTok from one of her own TikToks that she posted. It's hold on. That's the second book. What's the first? Stand by. Oh, hold on. Alexis Patton is the author. The second book is Us Deadly Few, but the first one is Us Dark Few. And it is a female main character that has been wrongfully convicted of a crime. She gets sent to this underground prison, and the captain of the prison is a hot guy who starts giving her private defensive lessons. Giggling, kicking my feet. I think Alexis did a really good job of building the same intricacy of a world to the level of ACOTAR. But it's also one thing I did not anticipate about this book that I didn't think I would like is the smut is not very spicy. It's very much a slow burn anticipation of kind of exploring the more emotional ties and less of the physical, while still making it a very, very enjoyable, giggly type of storyline. So that's my next recommendation. Us Dark Few is the first book. Again, Us Deadly Few is the second. I read Us Deadly Few within 12 hours of it being released. And again, I have no release date for the third. I'm so mad that I don't have a third book. But anyways.
So I'm there. Okay. Well, there you go.
What's yours?
So she needs to put the phone down, but you did find it on TikTok. So maybe you put the phone down more frequently is what we're going to say. So I'm going to be the host and call a mulligan, and I'm going to throw another book in there that I think you might like because it's very like turn your cheeks red kind of but this one is the one that I was talking about most of the show that is See Jane Score by Rachel Gibson. And as far as like a story, it's a reporter who gets assigned to this hockey team, and she's a good writer, but her columns aren't necessarily written about sports like that. So people find out that she's been writing this like ask blank kind of article, and the locker room actually enjoys those articles. But there's a goalie that's kind of got a stick up his ass and kind of acts a little standoffish, and for her it's just like a well fuck you too kind of situation, and that's what ends up happening. So
let me just go ahead and add that to my fucking Kindle Unlimited right now.
So I enjoyed that one because the story wasn't bad, and I think the main character was well written, and the like love interest was multi-layered. Like it wasn't just like he was a douche because he was a douche. He was like he had reasons, and I appreciate that because looking at it as a trope, like I said, is just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But no, I liked that one. The scenes were pretty fun, and in like the enemies to lovers kind of thing is another trope that's like kind of fun, because I think that's a lot of times like when I call it being in the trenches with somebody. When you're stuck in the trenches with somebody, there's a lot of times where you're like, I fucking hate you, but now I've had to spend so much time with you. I had no choice but to find the like good qualities just to make my life livable, because I hated you. And those are always fun. But like I said, I'm going to call a mulligan, and I'm going to throw another one in there that I want you, if you can. This was a recommendation from friend of the show, friend of actual person. She loves you, and you actually became somewhat friends digitally. My buddy Rogue, she suggested this one, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm at work. This book is so spicy, I had to turn it off." So I was like, "What is it? Yeah, what is it?" I was like, "What is it?" And then I started listening to it. I was doing the dishes, I was cleaning the house, and just like kind of doing. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm glad I'm home!" Like, because like it legitimately, the story itself isn't necessarily that good. But that isn't the point of this, is it? The book is Glitch by Brianna Michaels, and I think that it is, at least, let me make sure it's this one, because it might not be this one. It says finished, so I assume it's this one. But I want to make sure that that's actually the right book, because there was two of them. When you search Glitch, there's two of them that comes up, and it was kind of... Yeah, it is that one. There's a sense of like nerdiness to it, and there's a sense of like, well, that person can't like me. And one of my other favorite things is dual perspectives, and we get dual perspectives in this book, and that is probably like the hottest part, is getting the story from two different sides, so you're getting a little bit of both in the experiences. And they're nerdy gamers, so nerdy gamers have like that, like, okay, whatever, I see it.
Listen,
but also the dude's not a douche.
I just pulled this book up on my Kindle Unlimited, return and continue to whatever fuckery I had waited in the queue. Okay, because I always have Kindle Unlimited books, too many,
you do
rented out. Yeah. Okay. Top of the book description says book 1 of 6. Yep. Correct. Ready. Yeah. Let's go.
So yeah,
thanks, Rogue.
Yep. The only thing, and I don't remember if it's the audiobook that I listened to, the voice was really like, the guy's voice is really deep, and that's the whole thing, is he's got a voice that's super deep. And one of the things that he did is whoever narrated the book used an ultra deep, ridiculous voice. And I had to speed the book up just to make his voice like tolerable. So if you listen to it on the audio version, like that's kind of the, like, be aware of that. If you have somebody else read it, like if you like your Siri or whatever, because you're using a different app, just be aware of that. But no, yeah. So we talked about smut books, Kaitlin. Did you enjoy this, or was this like one of those like gave you negative feels?
Listen, I am walking away from this episode. I hope that you have so many clips of just my face and my reactions to clip and post to the Instagram and to the TikTok, because honestly, I feel like, homie, this is a topic that we could talk about for another 10 fucking episodes. Yeah. And I feel like we've scratched the surface. This was far more enthralling and involved than I thought it was going to be, genuinely.
Yeah.
So thanks, homie.
Well, with that, bye.
The bell is about to ring. If you want to drop us a voice message or simply ask a question, you can do that by clicking the link in the show notes below. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people find us. Theme music by Kinsey. More music available on Spotify. Remember, every day is a class. Go learn something.